Hey, it's Jay Luxon here, and the day 3 of the impeachment trial for the Vice President Sara Duterte has just concluded. Let's talk about it. We all just watched the defense team dismantled the so-called expert witness from NBI. And here are the things that I've gathered that you guys might want to understand even more. Number one is the discrepancies. Okay, so yesterday the prosecution presented this witness from the NBI and told the whole Philippines, okay, that he's an expert, quote unquote, in the digital forensics department. But apparently, after the cross-examination by the defense team, it turned out that he is actually not an expert. Okay, ano nangyari doon, Jay? What happened? How are you able to tell that he's not an expert? So, yung certifying body that the prosecution said yesterday gave a certificate to this witness from NBI was not actually a forensic evidence certifying body. Naintindihan? Yung certificate na natanggap ng NBI expert kuno is not a forensic a digital forensic certificate. Ano yun? Anong certificate ang natanggap niya? Yung certificate na natanggap niya was coming from a company that was selling a product that will be used for digital forensics. Not a digital forensic certifying body. It's just a company, kumbaga tindahan ng makinarya na pang digital forensics. So, nung pagbili ng NBI, when NBI bought this machinery or product from that company, from that business, they conducted a 2-week training to the personnel of NBI to learn how to use it. It wasn't a training on forensic or digital forensics. It was a training on how to use the tool. So parang ganito, parang bumili ka ng Photoshop or Adobe Audition or Logic Pro or any program that will use to create videos or produce music. So you bought that program and you go through their training on how to use the program. It wasn't a training for digital forensics. It was a training on how to use that product that they bought. Okay? Because there's no digital forensic training that will be done or conducted in a matter of 2 weeks. It takes years to get that done. To be called an expert on digital forensics, you have to go through extensive, long hours and days and months and years of training in the digital forensics department. Okay? So, basically, yung certificate na natanggap niya is not a certification as an expert of digital forensics. It's a certification that they bought a product and he went through the training on how to use the product. That's what the defense was trying to get across to the senator judges and to the people. Now, this guy, NBI witness that the prosecution says is an expert, is not an expert. He's just a competent employee. Basically, just an employee that was tasked to do the job and get a training to get the job done. Okay? He's not an expert. So that was the discrepancy there. That was the lie number one that prosecution tried to plant in our heads and say, hell, he's an expert. He knows what he's doing. No, he's not. He just bought a product and was tasked to learn how to use that product. Next issue is that the witness did not have first-hand knowledge of the threats that Sara made. He only found out about it after the video was posted online. Kahapon, he was saying that they were investigating these threats that were coming from Sara against the president. Today, the defense, after the cross-examination, proved that he did not have prior knowledge of the threat. He only saw the video and then based his conclusion and quote-unquote investigation on that video. What do I mean by that? Ibig sabihin nun, if totoong may threat si Sarah against the president, and he works in the NBI, threat unit. Let me just forgive me. I might naming it wrong. He works for the NBI. They found out na may threat si Sarah against the president of the Philippines. They would have found out about that not through the video, but through an inner circle information, a leak, from Sarah's team. That's how you basically use the word investigate. You know about it before everybody else or the public knows about it. What he did was saw the video, based his investigation, quote unquote, off of that video. That's not investigation, that's hearsay. Okay? That's not investigation, that's getting information and running with it. Investigation is knowing about the threat before it even goes public. That's discrepancy number 2. It wasn't an investigation. It's hearing about it, then going, and doing something about what he heard. Does that make sense? Kasi kung talagang may threat and he was investigating it, before pa nalagay sa YouTube yung threat ni Sarah, before pa kumalat sa social media yung threat ni Sarah against the president, he should have already known about it, being that he's working in the NBI. Diba? Yung intelligence unit. Alam na nila kung sino-sinong mga tao na sa likod ng mga, mangyayaring krimen before it even happens. So, if he was truly investigating, then he should have known the threat before it even went public. He wasn't investigating. He found out through the video and ran with it. Okay, pangatlo. When the defense attorney asked the NBI witness if NBI is directly DOJ and Department of Justice is directly under the president, what he's trying to do is paint a picture para sa mga senator, judges, and to the Filipino people na, wait a minute, if yung NBI ang nag-investigate, the witness is also from the NBI, and then all of these papers and documents are also certified by NBI, but at the same time, NBI is directly under Department of Justice, and then itong Department of Justice is also directly under the President. It only means na meron talaga silang one directional plan to target Sara Duterte, and that plan on investigating wasn't coming from NBI. It came from all the way up from the president, down to Department of Justice, down to the NBI. So basically, it's saying na bias to na witness, bias to na investigation, because itong lahat na thread na to, NBI, Department of Justice, all belongs under the president's rule. If they truly want to investigate Sara and make it credible, they should have hired an independent body or an independent group to do the investigation, do the certification and all, etc., etc. Pero hindi. Everything came from NBI, which is directly under, all of that. So, basically, the defense was trying to show us that this is all biased. This is all coming straight down from the president all the way to the NBI. You just have a plan to basically derail Sara for the 2028 elections. So it goes to say that if the prosecution really wants to hang Sara by the neck, they should have hired someone outside of the NBI to do the investigation, and then find someone coming from Sara's circle, inner circle, that will side with them and be the whistleblower, basically, or be saying all the exposés with an inside knowledge of coming from Sara's group. But instead, voila, all they had was this guy from NBI. Okay? So this is basically clearly not a credible witness. Last but not the least, this is what I think truly put the nail, the last nail in the coffin against the prosecution team and the credibility of the NBI witness. When Senator Judge Cayetano stood up and asked, is this a conditional threat? Is this a conditional threat? What is a conditional threat, Jay? Conditional threat meaning I spoke something, I said something that might sound like a threat against someone, but that is coming from a real fear for my own safety because I myself am getting threats. If you can remember from my video yesterday, I said Sarah is a high caliber lawyer. She will not say anything that she knows will incriminate her. Her saying the threats in public, knowing that there's gonna be records of it, tells me that she has a reason for saying it, and this is where conditional threat comes in. When Cayetano asked this, when you heard the threat that Sarah made against BBM, did you also conduct an investigation about the threats that Sarah was getting against her life? The answer was no. What does that mean? It means they truly are just, the NBI basically is just targeting Sarah. Because if they're truly non-partisan, if they're truly non-biased, they would also look into the video and say, wait a minute, bakit sinabi ni Sarah yung ganun? Anong threat ang natanggap niya sa buhay niya, sa mga anak niya, sa husband niya, for her to say what she said? And then they're going to investigate that. Instead, they didn't. They only took what Sarah said against the president and investigated that part. Which doesn't make sense because Sarah is also the vice president of the Philippines. You being an NBI, an agency that works for the government directly under the president and the vice president, if your vice president is under a serious threat, you being the NBI should be investigating this too. Instead, they didn't. That's why Sarah said that. Now, if something happened to me, in the context of something happening to me, I have ordered someone to kill BBM, the wife, and Romualdez. Today, defense have proven that this NBI witness is incredible, not credible as a witness, and their witness, the prosecution witness, is one-sided. The whole investigation about the grave threats is one-sided because of that nail in the coffin that Alan Peter Cayetano asked. Was this a conditional threat? Okay, so that concludes our day 3 of the impeachment trial against our Vice President Sara Duterte. Let's see what happens in the following sessions. This has been Jay Luxine. Keep an open mind when we're discussing in the comments. Please keep in mind not to disrespect anybody. You will be heard, but also make an effort to not destroy each other. We are all Filipinos here. Okay? We can do this. Kaya nato ni. Let's be better Pinoys.